That breaking news, Cincinnati City Manager just announced she's dismissed the Police Chief Teresa Theetge. Cheryl Long speaking now. Let's listen in.
Conducted by outside legal counsel, a formal hearing with Chief Theetge and my careful consideration of the findings and future needs of the department. I want to begin by acknowledging Chief Theetge's more than 35 years of service to the Cincinnati Police Department and to the city. At the same time, after completing this review, I concluded that a change in leadership is necessary for the department moving forward. This decision was made by me, under my authority as city manager under the Cincinnati City Charter. The Cincinnati Police Department remains stable and fully operational. Interim Chief Adam Henney retains command, and the city will provide an update on permanent leadership in the coming weeks. Because this is a personnel matter and potential litigation may follow, there are limits to what I can say, and I will take a few questions.
City Manager, could you say why you waited this long to make this decision?
The decision was a hard decision to make. We obtained outside independent counsel to make sure that we had a process that was thorough, fact-based, and gave me all the information I needed to come to the conclusion that I did. I support the time that I took to make sure that I had all the information needed, and it landed me in the decision I made today.
Since there has been a change of leadership, at least a temporary change of leadership, nothing seems to have changed with our crime statistics. They certainly have not gone down in the key areas that you were theoretically hoping that they would go down. How has releasing Chief Theetge helped, at least for the last 5 months?
This decision is not about whether crime remains a challenge in our city. Public safety is a complex issue for every major growing city. The decision was based on findings of an internal review and whether leadership met the expectations required for the position. My responsibility as city manager is to make sure I have the right people in the right seats to guide me through that. And that's why I stand by the decision I made.
The internal review from Frost Brown Todd said that you had told her that, well, some people could see that she was to blame for the Fountain Square shooting last October. Can you explain that part of it? Why would she be blamed for one incident?
Can you say that question again?
Yeah, the Frost Brown Todd report said that you relayed to her that people, I don't know if it meant you or other people would blame her for the Fountain Square shooting on October, I don't know what date it was, October of last year. And I'm wondering, was that a factor? Was that the tipping point? And why would she be blamed for one particular incident?
Yeah, the report is based on interviews with more than 30 people, including many city employees. I trust the process and the findings from that report, but beyond that, I can't go into further.
So you can't say whether you said that to her? Can you confirm the accuracy?
I cannot.
In the search for a new police chief, do you know yet if it'll be an internal or external search?
Right now, Interim Chief Adam Henney remains in leadership. We will give you an update in the coming months on what that looks like.
The report stated that Chief Theetge had not had a formal performance appraisal in 7 years. Why is that? Who's supposed to be doing them? And we have a personnel file, and all the reviews up until then are great.
This is not about 7 years. Different concerns arose at different times. And once there was enough information to warrant a formal review, the city acted. From that point forward, our responsibility was to ensure the process was fair, thorough, and based on facts. My focus today is on the decision before us and what we need in the department moving forward.
What do you say to people who have said that this is merely performative? This decision was made long before today.
This decision was made by me, and I made it. I also obtained outside independent counsel to help with an investigation. We also had a formal hearing that allowed Theetge to give her the opportunity to be able to tell me what she felt that she needed me to hear. I then took time to process. This was a long process, as everyone has acknowledged. And that's why I stand behind the decision I made.
The Theetge attorney had said previously that there's going to be a lawsuit, adverse actions taken against her. We haven't heard from him today, that or Is the city prepared to fight that lawsuit until the end, or would it look to settle with her?
I can't speculate on that, but we are prepared to follow through with whatever, follow through whatever process is appropriate.
Did you offer Theetge a settlement to resign?
I can't speak on that, but what I can say is that Chief Theetge and I had a conversation way before any of this happened, where she asked me to provide her the professional courtesy to step down if there was ever a time in which I did not want her to be her chief. She said she wanted that professional courtesy so that she could walk away with her head held high. I provided her that professional courtesy. Chief Theetge changed her mind.
Alexis, do you have anything on that? Yes, thank you. So we already know that the former fire chief is suing the city. We know Chief Theetge's attorney has already threatened litigation. What do you say to address the people who have concerns that now two of our public safety leaders are going to be suing the city of Cincinnati?
First, I would say inaction does cost resources, but I also say outside counsel ensures that the process was independent and thorough. This was a tough decision, and I wanted to have all the information and take all the time needed to make sure I landed where I landed. That's where I stand by this decision.
Was there a specific tipping point to make that decision? You keep saying it was such a tough decision. Was there something that got you here?
At the end of the day, Chief Theetge is a 35-year employee. And what is important for me is to have an effective leader that is, as the report brought up, that is making sure they communicate well, they are also accountable, and also have the leaderships I need to help us navigate what we're seeing, which is a landscape of what crime is going in every growing city. And at that point, that's why I made the decision.
We've spoken to several people who said that they were interviewed for the Frost Brown Todd report, who said that they gave glowing reviews of the chief. Why were their comments not included in that report?
I can't speak on what was in the report, but what I can say is I trust the report that I received.
Going off of that, the report stated in several places that several witnesses felt Theetge didn't communicate well or could have handled certain situations better. Do you know the actual number? We know 32 people were interviewed.
What I do know is there was 30 people, some of which were city employees.
What started this? What was the reason this even started in your mind?
At the end of the day, Chief Theetge is a 35-year employee. And what I do know is that there was a time in which I knew that I needed to have the right leadership to help me to navigate. What we're seeing is a change in crime in our growing city. And at that time, that's when I activated, and that's why I made the decision I made. Thank you.
Can you please tell us who you will be looking for in a new chief?
That is City Manager Cheryl Long stepping away from the podium, taking questions from the media about the status of now former Police Chief Teresa Theetge and her dismissal from the helm. So it's been about 5 or 6 months since Teresa Theetge was placed on paid administrative leave. A couple of law firms involved here for the investigation, but that first law firm found her to not be an effective leader, leading to a second law firm being hired in just the past couple of days, about a week ago. And then there were still questions over her leadership style, leading to Cheryl Long saying that she needed somebody who's communicative, somebody who can be accountable for their actions. These are her words. And now we go on to find a new police chief. Interim Chief Adam Henney will still be in charge of Cincinnati Police for now, but then the process will play out in the coming months to find that new full-time chief. And imagine with Theetge being fired, there will be lawsuits filed because this story is far from over as far as now former Police Chief Teresa Theetge. We have multiple reporters down at City Hall getting reaction from city council members, from the Fraternal Order of Police, we've reached out to Theetge herself and her attorneys and her family. We imagine they'll have their side of this entire story. But the breaking news today, Teresa Theetge out as police chief for the city of Cincinnati. We'll be back here at noon with much more on this breaking story.